Welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, March 29th, 2019. I'm Jennifer Richardson with the details. Head of the Department of Economics at the UWI Cave Hill campus, Dr. Troy Lord, has deemed SVG's 2019 budget ambitious. Dr. Lord presented his analysis on the country's budget at a town hall meeting hosted last evening by the teachers and public service unions.
Finally, the 2019 budget is ambitious in scope. To be on budget and on time will require careful monitoring by policymakers. There is much to like in terms of government's plans. The main benefits from these plans will, as I indicated earlier, arrive in the future. The nature of such projects, though, is that much can change in the interim. The external economic environment can deteriorate. The ever-present threat of adverse weather like hurricanes can reverse development achievements in a matter of hours. The existential threat posed by climate change will bring added costs to citizens, and geopolitical events in a state of constant flux raise new challenges each year. All can alter the trajectory of St. Vincent and the Grenadines' goals. The role for unions and their members will be to see how they can help facilitate government's goals, the current one and the ones to come in the future. How should unions prepare their members for the dislocation that will be caused by the projects proposed in the budget? How will unions grow their membership going forward? How will they keep their products and services attractive and affordable for members? Will they be able to create new products and services to help their members? In all, this budget has set the tone for considerable future discourse.
As it relates to teachers and public servants, Dr. Lord sought to simplify what the budget has to offer them.
Salary increases totaling 4.5% for a triennium retroactive to 2018 were provided for in the budget. I am told this had the effect of graduating some persons into higher tax brackets, with the effect that some are taking home less pay despite the increase in salary. Technically, this ought not to have happened since tax rates are marginal and only the income in the higher bracket should be taxed at a higher rate. If this did occur, then an analysis of the effects of such increases ought to have taken place before increases were granted. Adjustment of tax brackets to prevent this from happening would have been a necessary consequence. Apart from the possible bracket creep, salary increases could be further eroded with the proposed increase in the NAS contribution rate in the coming years to 12% from 10%. While this has the effect of maintaining the health of the fund, it reduces workers' ability to meet their current liabilities.
Dr. Lord said the quality of education is expected to improve with the projects and programs outlined for the education sector in the budget. However, it usually comes at a cost to citizens.
120 graduate teachers and repair, refurbishment and outfitting of schools in 2019 should improve delivery of education, the key pillar of St. Vincent and the Grenadines' development goals. Naturally, such benefits come with a cost. $2 million for teachers and $6.5 million for schools. These are complemented by the Human Development Service Delivery Project and Technical and Vocational Education and Training Development Project. While these are very good overall projects, the consequence to government is a higher wage bill. This will reduce the ability of government to offer salary increases going forward, naturally. Earlier, I mentioned the benefits that improved roads and an enhanced road network could have. The offset of these benefits is that there have been increased excise taxes on gasoline and diesel, 20% and 40% respectively. These will increase the cost of living for workers directly for those who own vehicles, and indirectly as the increased fuel costs are passed on to consumers of goods and services which require land transport for their delivery or as part of a supply chain.
Dr. Lord further stated that while SVG's employment rate continues to increase, it does not mean that local workers are enjoying a high pay. This is the third year that the PSU and the SVG-TU have organized the budget analysis meeting. PSU President Elroy Boucher noted that it is not a political meeting, as some persons have stated, but rather a meeting where the public and public servants can have a better understanding of what the budget really offers them.
The budget which is presented in Parliament will have an impact, either positively or negatively, on our lives. Discussion leading to a full understanding of the budget presented is indeed important to trade unions and its members. We therefore embrace this yet another opportunity to engage in an analysis of the 2019 budget as was presented in the Parliament of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we look forward to fruitful discussions that will follow.
Meanwhile, some of the persons who attended last evening's town hall meeting at French's House thanked the unions hosting the budget analysis exercise. They had their own concerns and questions about the budget, which they raised with the Barbadian economist and professor, Dr. Troy Lord.
About the state of the economy in terms of our GDP. Our GDP stands somewhere roughly about 2.2 billion EC dollars, which compared to our population is actually quite good. So with this kind of money, I feel like there's definitely a lot more room to pay our teachers better, and I feel like it's a little, and I feel like it's kind of sad actually that they're leveraging our children, our future, as pawns in a political game for leverage, and I think that teachers pay the worst of this, and kids get the worst of this, right?
No, $260 million, revised estimate, $225 million, actual expenditure, $66 million. Where is the planning? Remember, budget and estimates, plan, estimate, to spend what you have. So, when government plans to spend $100 million, I expect to do certain things on my farm. If they don't do it, it affects me.
I don't really want to be pejorative, but there are some projects that I consider to be prestige projects. They're not really engaging for the value that they may have, the inherent value, but the prestige they may give to governments or countries. For example, they're going to tunnel under a mountain. Tunnel, building a city from scratch. And similar examples. What benefits can the citizens derive from these kind of projects that appear on the face of it not to connect organically with the people?
The last year's budget, very interesting. I had somebody take me through it. And there was a line item, loan. And what I noticed, somebody brought to my attention, an overdraft of $37 million was turned into a loan, and it was in the footnote, not where everybody could see it. Two questions: we didn't know exactly what the overdraft was, and whether that overdraft was turned into a loan to facilitate another overdraft.
I have regarded marijuana as the raft, a big raft, which has been constructed to save everybody from the water. I don't have any, much faith in it. It is true, our guys in the hills have been farming for years, etc., etc. Some of them have lost their lives doing it, and they ought to have a good chance. I say that any marijuana operation should allow for, I expect that you'd have to charge them, the operators, heavy license. A good percentage of that license should be channeled to those guys who were before in the hills, so that if they want to do whatever investment they would have that service. That's two. Now, we would soon be celebrating 40 years as an independent state. And it has been generally acknowledged that we are not at the stage of development at which we ought to have been by now. That's true.
Dr. Lord was careful in answering their questions and clarified some statements.
The budget that there will be 500 graduate teachers in secondary education in St. Vincent, I think, by the end of this year, with another planned 120, so that you find that there is an increase in the overall numbers of persons that are employed by government. Now, once you find that the numbers are increasing, the overall wage bill increases.
Absolutely.
Right. So that, as I mentioned,
But GDP does factor in government expenditure as well as import, export. It's basically the country's wealth.
It does, but one thing that you always have to remember, and I mentioned this here, is that the greater the number of infrastructural projects that the country starts and completes, the greater the percentage of every dollar in revenue that has to go to repay the loans.
Vincentians have been encouraged to pay close attention to the work being done by the CARICOM Secretariat. This was echoed at a media briefing hosted on Thursday afternoon by the Regional Integration and Diaspora Unit to provide information on the outcome of a 3-day results-based management system RBM meeting. The seminar targeted parliamentarians, senior public servants of the private sector and civil society. Deputy Secretary General of the CARICOM Secretariat, Manorma Soikandan, said the RBM system is designed to address issues relating to implementation deficits.
Deficit, whether it be in implementing policies or whether it's in taking decisions. And such a dashboard then will also indicate, will reflect of what are we achieving within our community and who is benefiting from it. And you can also quantify it. That it means in money-wise, you can quantify it, who is benefiting, and also our community. So that is in essence about RBM. Mr. Beresford, I don't know if you want to say anything else about it.
No,
no,
I
that's
think
fine.
You have covered it.
Okay, and we have spoken in St. Vincent and the Grenadines with several stakeholders, including cabinet, including civil society. We met with the opposition also. We had the media the first day, and I think the sessions went well. They were very participative, and people asked many questions. Also, they gave their input, their comments, and we can all use all of that, you know, in establishing the mechanism.
Dr. Soikandan said the RBM system focuses on the end result of projects rather than individual actions. To illustrate her point, she used the example of a government trying to relocate squatters from agricultural lands into proper housing settlements.
Now, all the actions that you will take prior to having them in the houses, right, those are several actions, activities. You will have a meeting with them. You will negotiate with funding agencies. You will have to sign a contract with them. All those are actions. But the achievement is, the impact will be that those people now living in a proper house, right, will now not have to spend their money in looking for a house or buying a house, which they in the end cannot afford. But there is another impact. They moved away from land that is going to be used for agriculture, right? Which means people will now generate income, which means their families will benefit, right? And children will go to school and those types of things. So when you now are going to budget, you're going to budget, your policy, everything is going to be focusing on the result. So you start with the result, and it will trickle down into the several activities that you want to conduct. I hope I'm clear with that.
Dr. Soikandan said the work of the CARICOM Secretariat is for the benefit of all member states, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and called on Vincentians to share their input where possible.
First of all, once we submit the draft policy, that it will be debated in Parliament and Cabinet, because the draft policy to have the RBM system implemented in member states, it starts with the draft policy, right? And once that has been approved, then at least we will have achieved one result. And I want to ask all the people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to follow us, CARICOM, the CARICOM Secretariat, be with us, support us, because in whatever we try to do is for the benefit not of the CARICOM Secretariat or for us, but for all of us, all the individuals within CARICOM. And hold us accountable if things are not being achieved, right? and go on our website, www.caricom.org, see what is ongoing in the Caribbean community, you know, and give your input, because that's important.
Meanwhile, our news team caught up with representatives of the HIV/AIDS Secretariat and the Marian House, who also participated in the sensitization seminar, and they shared with us their opinion on the workshop and the RBM system.
So today's meeting from the CARICOM level was very informative. That I know that HIV is still on the border, and not just in St. Vincent, but from a CARICOM level, I could really feel more stronger going forward to push the fight on the ground, St. Vincent on the ground, knowing that we have all the support in CARICOM. So I was very glad to be invited here today. I was invited by Jeannie Olivier anyway. She got permission from the Secretariat, so I was really glad to come to gather the information that I could take it back to my peers.
And we appreciate exactly what information we gleaned, but we also need a lot of information sharing at the national level so that other NGOs that are not part of the network would understand what the system is all about. Because as NGOs, we don't have access to funding, and we have to depend on regional and international institutions to assist us in providing funds for our programs locally. It therefore means that the network and members, NGO and private sector have to be part of this monitoring system. Therefore, our capacity has got to be built, and we are depending on the government agency, RIDU, to assist us in building our capacity so that we can become part and parcel of this CARICOM management system.
The deadline for filing income tax returns is Sunday, March 31st, and given that this is a non-working day for government workers, Controller of the Inland Revenue Department, Kelvin Pompey, has said they will try to accommodate persons to meet the deadline by opening their office tomorrow, Saturday, March 30th.
When this Saturday, the Income Tax Department will be open this Saturday from 9 to 12, because we recognize that these last few days are going to be hectic. We would be open to serve our tax-paying public, persons who have returns to file, or amounts to pay, or any inquiries will be open to serve you. And additionally, over the next 2 or 3 days, we would be doubling more or less our cashiers. We normally run 7, we'll be putting up to 13 or so cashiers on to make sure that the lines move quickly and persons are served as efficiently as possible in the shortest possible time.
Pompey said the department is continuing its efforts to modernize the way Vincentians file their tax returns. He said by 2021, all Vincentians will be using the electronic filing system.
We have been pushing our electronic e-filing platform this year. Of course, we do have some problems still with the technology, but we anticipate that close to over 75% of persons would be filing returns using our e-filing system for 2019. We anticipate, and it's our plan, that by the end of 2020 that we will have phased out the manual return forms for the personal income taxes. So by 2020-2021 we hope to see all employees filing their returns electronically. There are some improvements that we are doing currently on our e-filing platform so as to make it much more accommodating, because we have had problems in terms of the speed and sometimes persons being thrown off. But overall it is working, and we are looking to upgrade it.
The Board of Directors of the Caribbean Development Bank, the CDB, has approved financing of $13.4 million to the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to enhance resilience of Sandy Bay and other North Windward communities to coastal hazards and the potential impacts of climate change. The Sandy Bay Sea Defenses Resilience Project aims to reduce the rate of coastal erosion through the construction of sea defenses in sections along the Sandy Bay coastline. CDB Director of Projects Daniel Best said the Sandy Bay Sea Defenses Resilience Project will reduce the vulnerability of Sandy Bay and other North Windward communities to aggressive coastal erosion caused by wave action and storm surges associated with the passing of tropical storms and hurricanes. The key project components include preparation of a feasibility study inclusive of an environmental and social monitoring plan, construction of sea defenses along approximately 730 meters of shoreline, including stone revetment, retaining walls, and river training, as well as auxiliary works such as green space and pavement construction. The CDB said the investment is consistent with its disaster management strategy and operational guidelines and climate resilience strategy, and also supports the vision of the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to improve the quality of life for all of its citizens, as outlined in the National Economic and Social Development Plan 2013 to 2025. A number of medical supplies were today handed over to the Chief Pharmacist in the Ministry of Health, Levi Walker, from the National Total Care Ministry of the New Testament Church of God. Coordinator of the National Total Care Ministry Medical Mission of the New Testament Church, Joselle Miller, said the medical supplies were leftovers from a mission hosted by the National Total Care Ministry, which was held in 5 different areas of SVG.
We want to thank the Carol Garden Ministry out of the United States and the 15 members who came to actually be a part of this mission here in St. Vincent. We were able to offer quite a few services: dentistry, psychological counseling. We had a general practitioner, pediatric doctor. We did HIV testing, and in all we would have offered services to just over 700 persons across the 5 different areas where we would have had the clinics. And, you know, the church is mandated to, you know, follow the Great Commission of spreading the gospel. But we want to also make sure that we cover the different areas that persons are also affected in their lives. And the Carol Garden Ministry would have contributed clothes, medication, dental packages. A lot of different resources were brought into the country. And after the end of the mission, the medication that was left over, they felt it best that we will hand it over to the Ministry of Health, and that's why we're here this morning.
Miller thanked all the medical practitioners and those who made the recent medical mission of the National Total Care Ministry a success.
So I just want to say thanks again to the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Simone Kiza, the Permanent Secretary, and everyone who assisted, who assisted in allowing the mission to be successful. And of course, we can't say enough in terms of thank you to Mr. Walker, who also would have assisted in having a pharmacist with us on the team every single day. And we must really commend them, because when we look at the work that they did each day, the head of the team, Reverend Carol Garden, even commented that the pharmacists here are so professional and well learned. So I must say, you know, kudos to the ministry and kudos to Mr. Walker for his team that would have already also assisted us.
Chief Pharmacist in the Ministry of Health, Levi Walker, thanked the National Total Care Ministry of the New Testament Church of God and others who were responsible for handing over the medical supplies to the ministry and for hosting the medical mission in SVG.
Well, I just quickly want to say thank you to everyone who was involved in this mission. The information I received is that it was very successful, and our pharmacists were privileged to be working along with the team. They did quite a lot of dispensing, and the medications that were brought and the ones that are left over, we are very appreciative of the supplies, which will definitely add some value to the services that we are offering. And I'm quite sure that this is not the last intervention we'll have from this team. So I want to say thank you very much, and we're looking forward to working with you again in the future.
The SVG Police Welfare Association, the PWA, will be celebrating its 67th anniversary on Monday, the 1st of April 2019. under the theme 67 years of existence, still standing firm, working together for the welfare of all. To commemorate the milestone, the association will be hosting a week of activities commencing on Sunday the 31st March 2019 to Saturday 6th April 2019. The week of activities begins on Sunday with a church service at the Kingston Baptist Church. The other activities include a march and radio program on Monday, April 1st, visit to sick and retired police officers on Tuesday, April 2nd, a beach cleanup on Wednesday, an appreciation day on Thursday, and painting of the Layu Police Station on Friday, April 5th. The week of activities will culminate on Saturday, April 6th with a blood pressure and sugar check.